The Avenger. The killer of killers. Nice outfit. Not sure about the face, though.
You do realize that Halloween is still like 2 days away, right? And why are you dressing like the Crow? God, you're so weird. Oh, hello, my name is Fu Manchu. Can't take you seriously behind the camera like that, Chase. Anyway, like my friend over here, I've been a fan of the Crow comic book since day one. Seriously, that's one of the comic books that I used to buy at a local comic book shop. They used to have to save me the comic books. There were a few comics back then that they would only get a couple of issues on, and they told me that they didn't sell very well, so they would, like, order them just for me. So, literally, they would get one issue, and they'd say, here's the new one, and I'd be like, wow! Well, The Crow is a really cool series, and I really liked it a lot. So when I found out that they were going to be making a movie, and since I was an actor, well, I remember writing James O'Barr and begging him for the role. Seriously, I did. This really happened. And, James O'Barr was nice enough to write me a letter and tell me, hey, look, they're actually going a different route. I have nothing to do with the movie. I mean, back then, that's what he was saying, at least. I think later on, when Alex Proyas took over or whatever, I think that's when he became like either a consultant or whatever on the set, because he was kind of involved a little bit, but not very much. He was just kind of there. And but back then they told me, he told me, who was it? Oh yeah, River Phoenix. River Phoenix was the one who was up for the role then, and apparently either had the role or whatever, because he said they were looking at River Phoenix, and then River Phoenix died right after that, and I remember thinking, oh man, that sucks, because I loved River Phoenix, and then he ended up dying, and I thought he was a pretty good idea for Eric or whatever. I thought that would be a really good actor for that character, and River Phoenix was really good in those kind of roles. I mean, not playing undead, guys coming back from the grave, but he was really good in dramatic roles, always, and plus he had a good look. And then later on, I found out that Brandon Lee got the part, and I really loved Brandon Lee in that Dolph Lundgren movie. What was it, Showdown in Little Tokyo? I really loved him in that, and was a big fan of him because, of course, he's the son of Bruce Lee, and being a fan of Bruce Lee, I was like, it's the son of Bruce Lee, he's so awesome! And then he died too. And I don't understand, man, everybody's dying, so that sucks. But anyways, leads us back to the Crow, who was dead too. It's weird, isn't it? But yeah, I remember writing James O'Barr and saying, hey, here's a photo of me and stuff. Here's me dressed as the Crow, and I'm sure he got like tons of those, but he was really nice to me, and he wrote me a letter and thanked me for it and all this stuff. And I still to this day think, wow, River Phoenix was, involved, and then he died, and then, it's just weird, man. But anyways, the Crow comic book was one of my favorite comics of all time, and it took forever to get that final chapter. I mean, forever. And when the movie eventually came out, I remember I liked it, but I didn't really like it that much because it was so different from the comic. A lot of people will say, oh, it's just like the comic. No, it's not. It's different. And they changed quite a bit of it, and a lot of what they changed I didn't like. But that's okay. I mean, it still stands alone. It's just to me, it's just a B-action movie. I mean, it's about as good as those old martial arts movies are. I mean, if you watch them and expect, like, perfection, you're not going to get it. But if you watch them just to enjoy them, you're going to love it. Now, I'm sure that's not popular to say because I know a lot of people think that the movie is really good, but believe me, the comic is even better because the comic has so much, more poetry in it. I mean, it makes more sense. The ending is way better. The gang members are not the way they are in the movie at all. I mean, Top Dollar was not the leader. He was like one of the first ones to die. He's like the second one to die. And but yeah, he was just some other guy, and then he got killed. But anyways. Yeah, T-Bird was way better in the comic book, and I really wish they would have went that route. And maybe someday they'll make a better adaptation. And if you do, come on, cast me as an extra at least. Jeez, I've been waiting for years. But anyways, the other day I went to a store. That was a long intro, guys. I'm glad you made it through it. But anyways, the other day I went to a store, and they have a lot of old toys and stuff that, like older toys that you don't see on the shelves anymore. And they get like a lot of used stuff, and they get a lot of new stuff that's never been opened, but it's older stuff that's never been opened. And I actually found something, and I was like, holy crap, man, that is awesome. So today's review will be on the following. Today's review will be on the Neca and Real Toys The Crow pre-painted soft vinyl model kit. And boy, is that a mouthful. Check this out. This is amazing. Now, I don't remember ever seeing this, ever, in stores or anything. And man, when I say this box is big, believe me when I say this. Look at this. Look how big this box is, man. This figure is huge, and from what I've read, this is a 13-inch figure. Now, it's a model, as you can see over there. You have to put him all together because he's kind of like in pieces, which is weird. It's like the gang caught him and chopped him up. But he's the Crow. He'll come back together again, which is another thing. He's not really the Crow. The Crow is the Crow. He's just Eric, I guess. He's just the guy who came back from the dead. But anyway, that looks amazing. And like I said, I've never seen this figure before in stores. And when I saw it, I thought, wow, that's really cool. And it was only $29. And I think that's a really good deal for something this big. And it's never been open. It's never been, I just think that's so cool. Now, the thing that makes it even cooler is the fact that this thing came out in 2006. So, wow, man, this thing is pretty old. That's pretty cool. So here's the back of the package, and as you can see, it's got a picture of the model all put together. It's got him standing up on what looks like, the background where it's got the big cathedral place that they fought, where he fought Top Dollar at the very end. Then it's got a little blurb here, which I say a little blurb, but it's a really long blurb. But anyways, it just talks about him and Top Dollar fighting, and as you can see, he's holding the spire from the church, or whatever you call that, the whatever, steeple, I guess. That's pretty awesome. But yeah, this looks amazing, and when I saw it in the stores, when I saw it in the store, I was like, this is really cool, man. I think I need to get this. On this side of the box, you'll see the half of a window, and it's got the little bird there with the eyes. It's always weird to see his eyes there. That's kind of strange. But, yeah, there's the spire, or whatever you want to call it. Very cool indeed. Now down the other side of the box, you'll see this right here, which looks amazing, I might add. Very cool. Still just another picture, a production shot of the figure. Very cool indeed. Now, like I said, I'd never seen this in the stores, so when I saw this up on the shelf, I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then I saw the price, and believe me, like I said, this box is huge. And, seeing that it had $29 for the price tag and that it had never been opened, I just thought, you know what a steal. So I say I waste no more time here, and I say we open it! It can rain all the time! Now, sliding the figure out of the box, you'll see here that it's on a red tray, and it's got more to it than what you can see. It's actually got the top of the church, it's got the floor for him to stand on, which was the roof, and it's got the spire thing, which you can actually pull off from where it stays. Now, this is just a bigger version of the smaller Neca figure that came with Top Dollar. It was a 2-pack, and I think they sold him separately, too. But the 2-pack was really awesome. It had him and Top Dollar. And he was in the exact same position, and Top Dollar was on the other side with his samurai sword, and that is awesome indeed. So I say we pull him out of the package and see what he looks like. Now here are all the pieces fresh out of the package, and it only took forever to remove it because they were all wired in. Man, it took forever. But as you can see, the base is really big, very awesome indeed. You've got the top part of the church here with the little spire steeple thingamabobber. Very cool indeed. And then you've got the pieces of his torso, his legs, his arms, and his head, which you have to put together yourself. Now, I expected these pieces to be very soft plastic, because it says vinyl, pre-painted vinyl kit. But you know what? This thing feels like a Neca figure. The way Neca figures have that real hard plastic feel about it, very matte feeling. I don't know how to describe it, but they're very heavy duty. Well, this thing feels like a giant one of those, which it is. I mean, obviously, but I didn't expect that. I expected it to be hollower pieces and stuff. This is awesome. Now, putting it together is going to be fun. I can't wait to see it displayed. Check that out. You can see the pegs there. I'm glad it came with a base because that'll keep it from toppling over. That was one of the things I didn't like about the old McFarlane big versions. I think it was McFarlane that made them. It might have been Neca. I can't remember. Yeah, it was Neca. The 18-inch ones, like Willy Wonka and stuff like that, and they had a crow. Those fell over so easy because, the crow was in a walking position, kind of like this with his legs, like that. And you couldn't keep him standing up because he was so heavy. And it's very cool that this comes with a base. So I say I waste no more time and take all these pieces and put them together. What do you say? Now, this thing is really big, so I'm not going to be able to put it all together here on the camera, but first you take the legs, and you pop in the torso, and boy oh boy, when you put this thing together, it takes a lot of strength to snap this thing together. And be very careful, because I heard his leg crack down here when I did it, so be very careful, man, you don't want it to break. But anyway, there's the torso. Now let's grab the arms. Like I said, this takes a lot of strength to put this thing together. Now, as you can see over here in this armhole, you'll see that it has a certain shape. Now, the arm is the exact same way because you can see they all have little the way it goes on, it only goes on a certain way, and they will not turn. There is no articulation to this figure that I know of. But anyway, that's how it goes together. And once it goes on, boy, is it on. That's very cool indeed. Check that out. It looks like the Headless Horseman is going, batter up! All he needs is a baseball bat. So anyways, let's pop his head on, shall we? And when you're done, wow, this is a really awesome Crow figure. This looks amazing. I love it. Check that out. I know he's all in black. You probably can't make out any of the details, but this head likeness is amazing. Like I said, this is just a larger version of the smaller NECA figure that came out, like I said, the rooftop battle one. And this looks so cool indeed. Okay, now let's stick him on the base before he goes and topples over. Now, there's two holes underneath the part of the cathedral top here, and you can see they go right there, and then the smaller holes are for his feet. So let's put those on, shall we? Oh, and in case you're wondering how to put it on, if you look, there's a bigger hole and a smaller hole. So that's kind of cool. So it only goes on one way, so you won't get confused which is the front and which is the back. So when you're done and you have it all put together, this is what it's going to look like. And the spire thing here, it's really loose. If you look here, it's really loose on the thing. But that's because the handle is really, really long, and you have to pull it out. Now it's stuck. But yeah, I don't want to break it. But anyways, yeah, you have to be very careful with that. It's very loose, like I said, so I don't know if you'll have to probably adjust it to make it go straight. But they made it that way, so when it's pulled out, it's long enough for him to hold. Now, if you look here on the end, I love how they made it all jagged like it's broke off. That is awesome. Great attention to detail. They could have just made that flat. That looks so cool. Now, I've got to say, putting his feet on, oh boy, was that a tight fit. It's almost like one of his legs wasn't angled enough to go on, that peg over there. But this is the only way that he can stand on there unless you just want to keep one of his legs off the peg and swivel him any which way you want. But he looks awesome looking. So let's give him the spire. What do you say? So here's the figure all put together, and I have to say, boy, that was scary, putting that brittle, the steeple's made really well, but it's very brittle plastic. Anybody who's played with a NECA figure knows. I mean, if you played with the smaller version of this, because I had the smaller rooftop battle one with Top Dollar, and this was the first piece that broke, because once he fell, broke right in half. So that sucks. Now, I had to heat up his hands with a hairdryer because they are very stiff plastic, and this thing did not want to go through. And while I was putting the pieces together, I did notice, like where his neck attaches, the plastic totally rubs off the paint. You know, it rubs black onto the paint, I should say, from his shirt. The flat black of his shirt comes off. And I was really afraid the skin color would come off onto the rod as I slid it through his hands. But once you heat them up, it slid on really easily. And besides, you know, both the hands have to line up. You don't want to bend it and stuff like that. So that looks awesome. So yeah, this is a very cool figure. This is way better than the little one. The little one was awesome, but this one is beyond awesome. This is so cool. Like I said, I'd be very careful of that spire because you don't want to break it. He looks awesome. Plus, I think there's some little thin strands of hair there on his face. You be very careful because a lot of it feels like it could break. I'm not saying it would, but you have to be careful with it. So anyways, I say we look at this thing up close. What do you say? So here we go with a super duper close-up look. Now, I don't know how easy this is going to be because this figure is really big as it is. But as you can see, here's his hands. You can see they painted his nails and everything. That's pretty cool. Then up here you got the spire. Very cool. Like I said, probably the most brittlest thing on this figure, so be very careful with that. Like I said, this probably won't be very good looking at it up close because it's so big. But there are so many details here to make out. It is awesome. You can see the rips in his shirt there, the one caused by Tintin in the alley. That's awesome. There's some bullet holes. Very cool. And look at his face here. Very, very cool. I love the detail on his teeth there. They did those right. Very cool. If you look there, he actually has the scar from the comic book, because in the comic book when he gets shot in the head, it ricochets or whatever off of his skull and cuts through his eye, or ruptures his eye, it should say, and goes across his nose. And that's why that scar's there. They never explained that in the movie, but he's got that scar from the comic book, and I think that's very cool. Cool attention to detail. Very neat indeed. Although in the comic book he didn't have to paint himself white, he was just pale. And very, very neat indeed. Look at his hair there. Very cool. You can see the little strands. I love how it's got his scalp poking through there. You can see the white or whatever, the skin color. And over here, This is really hard to do because it's so big. But yeah, very cool indeed. Let's look at his legs down here. You'll see that he's got some rips in his pants. Bullet holes, I'm assuming. Down here you'll see his boots. No shoelaces, because he found them in the trash. They didn't come with shoelaces. They would have fell off really, really a lot. All those kicks he did, should have been at least one scene where he's like, my shoe flew off, crap! You know, I'm going to have to put that back on. I need some laces. See, he put his laces on his leg for some reason. I don't know why he did that. But anyways, very cool indeed. This is a very, very awesome figure. And I'm glad I got it. I mean, seriously, this is very neat indeed. So yeah, getting this figure for $30, $29.99. I thought that was a really, really good deal. I don't know how much they go for on the computer or whatever like that. Maybe it's cheaper, maybe it's not. I don't care. I just think it's a really neat little statue thing, and it's very heavy duty, like I said. Plus, like I said, I mean, you saw the box. That's how big the figure is. Check that out. That's a very awesome figure. A 13-inch crow figure. Awesome! So there's my review of the crow figure, and that is very neat. And the Eric-driven, I guess you would say a rooftop battle version, and very cool indeed. It almost makes me wish that they would have made more in this scale, because that would have been very cool indeed. So, until next time, tune in for more Foo Reviews! Come here, felzbug. Come on. I got a question for you. How many angels can dance on the head of a pin? That is a good question. I guess it depends on the tune.